Hey, what's going on? Alex Lott with L.A.G Tactical here. One of the most common questions we get asked is how and why we should carry a gun in certain positions. Three main carry positions: appendix, strong side, and small of the back. We get asked a lot of questions about that, and we want to give you some information, some pros and cons of each, and some things to consider when you decide on a carry position. First thing we want to make evident is that we are not professionals. We're not professional trainers. But we do have a number of years in the holster game, and we sell thousands and thousands of holsters every year, and we work with thousands and thousands of customers every year as well. So we have a lot of experience in helping people choose holsters, and we've heard a lot of questions and a lot of feedback on every carry position. So we just kind of want to send that back your way and give you some more information. So we'll go over the three carry positions. We'd love to hear what you guys think, and also any comments or reasons why you carry one position over another. The first carry position we're going to be talking about today is the appendix carry position. It's the one that we get the most questions about. People wanting more information, wanting to know why they should or shouldn't carry up front. That's kind of the one we're going to start with. Some of the key pros to carrying appendix is that we as a human species are interior. So what that means is that most of the stuff that we do is out in front of us. Our hands are almost always in front of us when we talk. As we're doing stuff out in front of us. So it gives you the most dexterity, the most mobility, having your hands out in front, having the holster in front of you. A lot of people like that. It tends to be a little bit quicker. Another key, pro about appendix carry is that it can be the most concealable. Should you be a taller guy like myself, it can be hard to find shirts that are long enough. And when you're carrying a holster on your hip or closer to the small of the back, as you're bending over, your shirt tends to come up and can hang up on the holster of the gun, and that's never a good idea, showing your gun off to those around you. Another key pro is that when you're driving, your holster is a lot more accessible here. Something on the back, should you need to get to it, you have to defeat your seatbelt as well as lean, get out of the way, and get to that gun. So it's a lot quicker should you be driving to carry appendix up here. Some of the cons. One of the biggest ones we hear is that people who have a little bit of a belly, spare tire, carrying a few extra pounds up front, it's not always the most comfortable. It can put a lot of pressure on your stomach, and that gun and holster can rub up against your stomach if you're not wearing an undershirt. So that's kind of one of the key negatives. It also, as the other thing we hear a lot about is that it does point right at your family jewels. That's something you have to weigh, the merit of yourself. Some people care, some people don't. One thing that we say is no matter where you're carrying, as long as you have a solid holster, you don't have to worry about it, but your gun will be pointing at something you don't want to shoot. Inevitably, it's just the way it is, nothing you can do about it. So there's key pros and cons. Something to consider when you're carrying appendix, some of the key things to help that out is wearing an undershirt really helps, like I'm wearing right now, so that holster and gun is not rubbing up against your bare skin, provides a little extra barrier if you have a shirt underneath. We do design our holsters with a tall sweat guard to help out, but having the undershirt really helps with that as well. And also, having a really well-designed holster plays a huge part. Our Appendix Mark II here has a lot of features that aid in appendix carrying. First off, most noticeably, you'll see we have the claw there. What that does is, as you put the belt through the belt clip, you have the claw that will sit behind the belt. What that does is it's going to force the grip closer to your body. As you can see right here, once I put it in, you'll be able to see that grip stays nice and close to your body. Really, really important with the larger framed guns like your Glock 19s, 17s, VP9s, something with a full-size grip. It's gonna, without that claw, it's really gonna want to stick out and be really noticeable in your shirt, but having that claw helps out a lot. We also have a flared front side that helps for reholstering, tall sweat guard like I mentioned before, as well as all the edges are really, really well finished, so they're really smooth, not gonna have any issues with them rubbing or scraping up on you. And you'll also see we have an opening here should you get any water, dirt, debris in there. That help clear it out, let it run away. And we also have some other belt attachment options down on the bottom. And lastly, on the back, what you'll see here is that we have a mounting location for the RCS pad, which is a rubber pad that helps provide some leverage backwards, similar to that claw, that will help keep that grip closer to your body. So those are some of the key pros and cons and the things to know if you're carrying appendix. Next, we'll move on to Strongside, and we'll go over some of those features as well. All right, so Strongside carry. This is by far what we found to be the most common, most popular way to carry a gun. Just because it's most popular doesn't mean it's the best or the fastest, but it is definitely the most popular. So here's just some kind of the key things, key takeaways, pros and cons that we'll go over with Strongside carrying. First off, for most people, it's going to be the most comfortable carry position. Over here, using the right holster like our Defender holster really spreads the footprint of that gun out and makes it really comfortable on your skin. You don't have as much of a pressure point in one location like you might with some of the other holsters. But this is definitely going to be the most comfortable. Also, for certain body types, it can be the most concealable. Some people, if they're wearing the right clothing and they're willing to keep their shirts down, it can be very concealable, more so than some of the other carry positions as well. Also, one of the big pros is, when you were growing up as a kid, we learned a lot as kids. You played cowboys and Indians, you played cops and robbers. Your toy gun was almost always on your hip. So it's a little bit more natural, a little bit more intuitive having a gun on your hip. It's kind of what we see in the movies, what we see law enforcement and military guys using is, a pistol on their hip. So that's something to, take note of. And for those guys who are LEO and military, your duty gun's on your hip. It's a good idea to keep your carry gun on your hip because you have that muscle memory. You don't have to learn a second motion, and it might be the quickest for you. Some of the cons. One of the biggest cons that I see with Strongside carrying is driving in a car. When you're driving in a car, you have your seatbelt that will most likely be in the way, as well as you can often be, leaning against your center console or against the seat where your gun gets pinned. And in order to get your gun, should you need to, you have to first defeat the seatbelt, whether that means taking it out or just moving it out of the way. And you also need to lean out of the way to get to your gun. That's something you can weigh, whether that's important to you or not, but something to mention. Another con as well is a lot of people would say that it is a bit slower. Being over here, in order to get your garment out of the way, you have to pull your offside hand over and get to it. Your hands likely are going to be out here in a defensive situation. It's a little bit longer motion. Something to think about. Some of the key features or key takeaways in order to carry Strongside effectively, like I mentioned before, having a well-designed holster like our Defender series here. You can see it has a little bit wider footprint than our other holsters. What this does is on your hip, it helps disperse the footprint of the gun a bit more, making it print less. And so that's going to be something that's really, really nice, a lot more comfortable. Also on these, especially for like our custom shop, we can shape that holster to fit your waistline a little bit better to make them a bit more comfortable. And as with the other ones, we have a flared front edge, really well finished edges, aren't going to rub against you or anything like that. We also have adjustable retention like on all of the other ones, open bottom as well. In order to carry Strongside effectively, a couple things to note. You want to make sure that you get the cant of that holster. Our Defender holsters have adjustable cant. So what that'll do is if you can adjust it correctly for those guys who might have some shoulder mobility issues, it's going to allow you to adjust that cant forward to make the draw stroke a little bit quicker, a little bit easier for you. As well as adjusting that retention, having it back over here. Some people, what we've seen is they like to have it a bit tighter because, your hands aren't always in front of it, able to defend that, able to make sure, your holster and your gun's not going anywhere. Having a little bit tighter retention back there, a little bit of peace of mind, making sure that gun's not going to come out. Not that we ever expect that to happen, but adjusting the retention accordingly for the way you're going to carry is really important. Last one we'll cover next is small of the back, and we'll go over some of the key points there as well. Last carry position we'll talk about is small of the back. It's definitely not the most popular carry position, but it is something to note, something to mention, give you a few kind of details on that. Small of the back is just basically anything past your 4 o'clock, 5, 6 o'clock. Occasionally we do see some people wearing it back there. Small of the back has a lot of the same pros and cons that carrying Strongside does, but the pros and cons tend to be a little bit more amplified. It is a lot farther back. It's a little bit more difficult to get your garment out of the way of in order for you to draw. But, one of the benefits is, most of the time we're talking face to face with people. It can be the most concealable because it's completely behind your body, something that people aren't going to be likely to see. But it also might be something that, is more likely to get grabbed if someone does see it, if you're in those situations. So that's small of the back. Not the most popular, but it's definitely something to note if you should choose to wear it back there. So we've went over the three main carry positions, some of their pros and cons and considerations. Last thing I want to talk about is how to choose where you want to carry. Another big question we get, people asking how we carry, as well as how did we decide where we want to carry. And to answer that question, I really point them to one of our holsters here, and I'll let you know why. This is our Liberator holster. It's super versatile. Can be worn in any carry position. It's right hand, left hand, inside, outside the waistband. Has a bunch of cant adjustment there. Can take a bunch of different belt clips. And so reason why I mentioned this holster is because I always suggest to people who are unsure about where they want to carry, I suggest that they wear this holster. You can put this Appendix, you can put it Strongside or small of the back. And so what this allows you to do is it allows you to try out all the different carry positions and see what works for you and your body style and your daily activity levels. What I tell people is take this holster, wear it for a week in one carry position, commit to it everywhere you go, wear it for a week. If at the end of the week you don't love that carry position, move it to another one. It gives you that versatility to be able to move it around for you. Eventually you will find a carry position. Everyone wants to give you their opinion on which carry position is the best. And while that's all good, we really just want to make sure we get the gun on you every day. It doesn't matter if you say Appendix carry is the best, but you only wear it one day of the week. It doesn't make a difference. So we want something that when you walk out the door, you're not going to have that debate in your head about, man, do I really want to carry this holster today? It's not comfortable. I don't like carrying it there. So ultimately, choose a holster, choose a carry position that's going to get the gun on you every day so you have it when you need it. So we would love to hear from you. How do you guys carry? Why did you decide to carry that way? What do you think are some of the pros and cons? What did we miss? What did we leave out? Reach out in the comments, social media, or email. Let us know what you think. Thank you.